let me tell you, if I could go back and do it all again, I'd probably, I'd probably still do it. Maybe just be a little smarter about the whole thing. You know. My name's Tiffany. I'm 28. And my life just went from, like, totally normal to a complete dumpster fire. All because of some pictures and a really, really bad idea. It all started with Liam. Liam was fine. He wasn't, like, the hottest guy I'd ever dated, but he was sweet. Too sweet. Maybe always trying to please me. Always saying yes. We met at some boring work happy hour, and he just kept texting me after, who says no to free dinners and someone who actually listens to you? We got serious pretty quick. Moved in together. Even it made sense. Rent was crazy, and he had a decent apartment with an extra bedroom. Plus, he was always so happy to pay for stuff. Like, if we went out to eat, his hand was already reaching for his wallet before I even thought about mine. And he never complained. Which was a nice change from my last guy who was always, like, splitting everything down to the penny. We had our routines. He'd cook. I'd be there. He'd do the dishes. I'd pick out what we watched on TV. It was comfortable, but after a while, comfortable turns into boring. He was always, like, trying to talk about his feelings. Or my feelings. And I'm just not really, like, a feelings person. If I'm upset, I'm upset. I don't need to, like, dissect it. He always wanted to know where I was, what I was doing. If I went out with my girlfriends, he'd text me, "Are you having fun? What are you guys doing? Who's there?" It was, like, a little much. A girl needs her space, but if I asked him what he was doing, he'd just, like, tell me everything. Too much information. So then I'd get bored and stop listening. He'd still keep going. He had this weird thing about, like, trying new hobbies. Like, he got super into pottery for a bit. Had all these messy clay things everywhere. Then it was rock climbing. He'd go to the gym all the time. Come home and tell me all about his, like, calluses and whatever. I'd just nod. What do I care about rocks? I liked staying in, watching my shows. Maybe getting some takeout. He'd always be like, "Let's go for a hike." Or, "Let's try this new restaurant." And I'd just be like, "Nah, I'm good." He'd get this sad look on his face. But then he'd still do whatever I wanted. See, too nice. The argument started small. He'd get upset if I didn't answer his texts fast enough. Or if I scrolled on my phone when he was talking. Which, hello. Sometimes you just gotta scroll. He'd be like, "Are you even listening to me?" And I'd be like, "Duh, of course I am." But inside, I'd be like, "This guy is so needy." One time, he got all worked up because I went to my cousin's party and didn't invite him. It was a family thing. Whatever. He was all, I thought we were a team. And I just, like, rolled my eyes. Between us. I wanted to scream, "You're not my keeper." He had this annoying habit of bringing up stuff from the past. Like, if we were arguing about something, he'd be, "Remember when you said you'd help me clean out the garage last month?" And I'd be like, "That's totally different." Because it was, what does a messy garage have to do with him being clingy now? He'd also try to, like, set boundaries. "Tiffany, I need you to communicate with me when you're going to be home late." And I'd just, like, zone out. I'm an adult. I don't need a curfew. The breaking point, if you can even call it that, came when he got a promotion at his job. He was all excited. "We can finally save up for a house," he said. And I was like, "Great. More money for me to spend." But then he started talking about how he wanted to, like, go on a trip, just him, to some weird mountain climbing place, without me. And that's when I knew he was changing. He was always like, "You're being dramatic," or "It's not that serious." When I was totally serious, it was serious. He was supposed to want to do everything with me. I started looking through his phone, not, like, all the time, but, when he was in the shower, just to see what he was up to. He never looked through mine, which was good, because I definitely had some texts from my friend Chloe about how annoying he was being. And, okay, maybe a few from this guy from work who thought I was hilarious. Nothing bad, just, like, flirting, but Liam would have totally freaked out. He was, like, super jealous wrapped up as concern. Then one day, I found them on his phone, pictures of me that he had taken during, private moments. They were in a hidden folder, all safe and sound. And for a second, I was like, guess he really liked me. But then the anger started bubbling up. He never told me he had those. What if someone saw them? What if he showed them to his friends? I mean, he probably wouldn't. He was too much of a goody two-shoes, but the thought was there. And it was a violation, We had a huge fight that night. I brought it up. I was like, you had no right to take those pictures. And he was like, but you knew I was taking them. We talked about it, which maybe we did, but I didn't, really agree. Not for him to just keep them. He tried to, apologize. He said he'd delete them, but I already saw red. I told him he was, a creep. He just kept getting quieter. And then he just, shut down. He always did that. Just stopped talking. Like I was the crazy one. I stormed off to my room and locked the door. I was so mad and scared, honestly. Not really scared, but, annoyed. Annoyed that he had those. Annoyed that he thought it was okay. I spent the whole night just stewing, and then it hit me. An idea. A really, really bad idea. Looking back. But at the time, it felt like the perfect plan. The perfect way to get back at him for making me feel so exposed. For making me feel like I was the bad guy. I grabbed his laptop. He always left it open. And I found the folder. It was easy. Too easy. I picked a few. The ones where I looked the best. Obviously. And then I made an anonymous account. On some random website. I don't even remember which one now. And I just posted them. With his name. And, a little story about how he was a creeper who took pictures of his girlfriend without her consent. Which, technically, was kind of true, right? I mean, he didn't have my explicit consent to keep them forever. I felt a rush. Yes, take that. Liam, he was going to regret making me angry. He was going to regret making me feel all those things. I knew it was risky. But I wasn't, really thinking about consequences. I was thinking about how much he'd hate it. How much he deserved to be uncomfortable. Just like I was. I mean, he always made me feel bad. He'd always say, "You're being inconsiderate, Tiffany, or you never compromise." He had it coming. The next morning, everything was normal. Liam went to work. I went to work. I felt a little tingle of excitement every time my phone buzzed, wondering if someone had seen it, but nothing. And then, in the afternoon, my boss called me into her office. Her face was, totally serious. I was oh, crap. Did I mess up a report or something? She asked me if I knew anything about some pictures that were circulating online. And then she showed me a screenshot. My heart, totally dropped. It was one of the pictures and a message from someone saying they knew the person in the picture and that she had posted them about Liam. They said it was, revenge and that it was illegal. I tried to play dumb. What are you talking about? I said, but my voice, totally cracked. My boss just looked at me. Tiffany, the police are here. They want to talk to you. My stomach just, dropped to my feet. Police. For this, it was just some pictures. Liam probably told them. That traitor. He always acted so sweet. But then he'd just, stab you in the back. That little bitch. They took me down to the station. And they kept asking me questions. About Liam. About the pictures. About the website. I kept saying I didn't know anything. I mean, what else was I supposed to say? Yes. I did it because he was annoying and he had pictures of me. They wouldn't understand. They never do. But they had, all this evidence. They showed me, IP addresses and stuff. And texts from my phone that showed I had, downloaded some weird browser. I was, caught totally. I sat there. And I didn't even know what to do. I just kept thinking, this isn't fair. He deserved it. He started it. They told me I was being charged with revenge pornography and some other things. They said it was a felony. A felony? For some pictures? I mean, seriously? This was all Liam's fault. If he hadn't had those pictures, none of this would have happened. I called my mom, crying. She was, totally confused. I told her Liam was, framing me and that he was trying to ruin my life. She sounded worried, but also, a little annoyed. She said, Tiffany, what did you do? And I was, nothing. I didn't do anything. Even though I totally did. The legal stuff was a nightmare. Lawyers, court dates, people looking at me like I was, some kind of monster. Liam testified. He looked different. Not like the Liam I knew. He looked tired. And he just kept telling them how he felt violated. And how he was afraid for his job. And how he couldn't trust anyone anymore. He was like, playing the victim. So annoying. He even showed them some texts where I had, been really mean to him. He was totally manipulating the situation, making me look bad. My lawyer kept telling me to apologize, to show remorse. But I didn't feel remorse. I felt angry. Angry at Liam for having the pictures. Angry at the police for, taking this so seriously. Angry at everyone for judging me. I didn't want to apologize. What good would that do? It would just make it seem like I was, admitting I was wrong. And I wasn't. In the end, I got a record. A criminal record? And they put a sex offender flag on me. A sex offender. Me. It was, the most ridiculous thing I had ever heard. I'm not a sex offender. I'm just a girl who got mad at her ex-boyfriend. It's totally different. My life is, ruined. I can't get a decent job now. Every time I apply, they do a background check, and then it's, instant rejection. My friends? Well, some of them still talk to me, but it's different. They look at me weird. My cousin, the one whose party I went to, she stopped calling me back, probably because Liam, that total snake, told everyone his side of the story. And everyone, believed him because he's so, nice. I see Liam sometimes around Dallas. He looks fine. Too fine. He's got, a new girlfriend. She's, super pretty. And they look happy. They're always, holding hands and smiling. It just makes me so mad. He gets to move on, and I'm stuck with this. All because of him. I spend a lot of time alone now. My old apartment, the one Liam and I shared, I had to move out. Couldn't afford it anymore. Now I live in this tiny, studio apartment, and it's always just me. I try to go out sometimes, but it's not the same. People know, or they can, just tell my life is just different now, and it's not fair. I didn't deserve this. I was just trying to, stand up for myself, get a little revenge, and now I'm, labeled for life. And honestly, I still don't think I did anything that bad. Liam shouldn't have had those pictures. He was the one who violated my privacy. I was just, reacting. It's not my fault he got so upset. He's always been, overly sensitive. If he hadn't been such a baby about it, none of this would have happened. And if he had just, deleted the pictures when I asked, then I wouldn't have had to do what I did. So really, it's all on him and everyone else who decided to make a big deal out of nothing. I don't care anymore about what anyone thinks. I really don't.